Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Raven Hayes Healing and Divination. And today we're going to talk a little bit about something called knot magic, or also known as cord magic. You may also hear that. And this is using a string or a piece of twine to do a magic spell, basically. So first I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the history. Now, knot magic is really old. It's got an old school history to it. It has its roots in Mesopotamia about 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, where mystics used to tie knots in cords while they were chanting words, naturally, and then they would untie those knots to release the spell. The rope at that time was then burned afterwards to ensure that the problem or the issue was permanently banished. Now, this was often done for banishing type spells, banishing work, exorcisms at the time, or even healing spells. Because what they would do is, essentially, this is a binding spell. Because when you tie a knot on something, you are binding it, right? So if we're going to bind it, in terms of a healing spell, what the objective is to bind that pain or that inflammation, and then to allow the body to heal, and to have some relief for a time, and then to unknot them and release that, allowing the body to return to its natural healing process. Okay? So they would also use something like this to place a curse. Now, if they were doing that, they would chant their words as they're tying their knots into the cord, and then they would not release them. And something like that, they would then bury so that they would ensure that that curse is going to remain active. Okay? Now, an interesting bit of history, and speaks a little bit to the fact that our ancient ancestors really did believe in the power of knot magic. There is something called the knot of Heracles, which I'm probably mispronouncing that. This is also known as a square knot or a reef knot. And I think many of us know it as that. And it is said to have healing powers, that particular knot, to the point where if a wound is bandaged and the ends of the bandage are tied in a knot over the wound in that particular knot, that the wound would heal faster. Okay? So anyway, back to the history a little bit. This knot magic or cord magic eventually made its way to ancient Greece and Rome and was used in the Middle Ages. It was often found in fishing ports. You would see this very frequently in fishing communities. And the wives of the fishermen would actually knot the wind into the cords, into certain cords. So they would take their time and knot certain aspects of wind into the cord. And oftentimes they would either give it to their spouse, of course, or to make extra money, they would sell these to other fishermen. And what would happen is when the sailor or the fisherman was out in the ocean and they needed a change in direction, they needed the winds to change direction or do something different, they would take the particular cord that they had purchased or gotten from their wife that indicated the direction they wanted, and they would unknot it to release that wind that they desired. Okay? So, enough about history. Let's get to the modern use. Let's talk about some modern uses. Now, in modern day times, it's said to use a 9-foot cord. I guess that's traditional, but 9 feet is quite long. 9 feet is very, very long. So I don't often use a 9-foot cord. Also, modern day use, what you'll want to do is choose a cord. You can choose one made of a man-made fiber, that's fine, but it's not traditional. Traditionally, you'd want to use silk or cotton. And you'd want to choose a cord that is in a color that is suitable to the type of spell work that you're doing. Now, I know in another video I talked about candle colors and things like that, and basically the colors are going to be very much the same, right? So if I wanted to do banishing work, I may choose a black cord. But for me, I would also use a black cord for protection. Brown might be one you'd use for home type affairs, like if you're buying a house, if you're wanting your house to be safe, if you're wanting no repairs to be done on your house, things like that. Yellow or gold would be for rejuvenation, for healing. I would use that also for success. Green is funny because green is good for money, of course, because green is typically the color of money, at least in the United States. But green is also the color of the heart chakra. So green would be used for love. It could be used for fertility as well. Excuse me. Orange would be used to maybe restore a damaged relationship. So if you had a falling out with a spouse, a loved one, a former friend, then you may want to use orange. Pink is also for love or friendship. The royal colors like purple or indigo, those are going to be really good for mental healing or anything related to your mind. Okay, also psychic and divination. Red will heal the heart. So if you have somebody with heart issues on a physical realm and you're looking to do something additional to assist them, you may want to choose red. It's also good for blood issues. So somebody who has thinning blood or thicker blood, vein issues, circulation issues. So you'd want to use red. And sky blue, of course, is good for anything communication or learning. So if you have somebody in school that you're looking to do some knot magic for, you may want to use sky blue. Okay, so now getting to the actual spell. What you'd want to do, how are you going to do this? Now, what you can do is two things. You can either use one cord, which is fine, or if you'd like to strengthen your spell, you can take 3 and you can braid them together. Okay, now, the first thing you're going to do is tie your knot in one end. And while you're tying your knot, excuse me, you want to focus on your intention. First, you want to consecrate this cord. Make sure, this is a cord that I just had. So I want to cleanse it of any negative energies. I want to, make sure it's good to go. And this cord is going to be for this particular purpose now. Take all old energies off of it by cleansing it, either running it through sage. Would be my ideal method. And then blessing it or saying your words over it that indicate what this is going to be used for. Okay. You're going to, as you're doing this, be focusing on the reason you're doing this spell. So that is going to be always focused in my mind as I'm tying each knot. And we're going to tie a total of 9 knots. There are some words that you can say. And again, you're going to always be focusing, even if you're saying these words, you're going to be focusing on your intention, okay? So you're going to start at one end of your cord. I think this is going to show up backwards. So one end of your cord, and you're going to tie your first knot, and you're going to say, as you're focusing, by knot of 1, the spell is begun. May the magic run and run. Now I'm trying to see how this... Now the second one, and you're going to meditate on that for a bit as you do the first one. So this may not be a quick process. You want to take your time and do it. You want to put your energy into this, okay? Like any other spell. You're going to go to the other end. Now, if you have 3, let me just stop right there. If you have 3 cords that you're braiding together, after you do your first knot with all three cords, then you're going to take the time to braid that all the way down to the end, braid it, and then when you get to the end, that's when you're going to do your second knot. So by knot of 2, it will come true. Made for me or made for you. Now I have 2 knots. I'm going to go and do a knot right in the center. By knot of 3, so shall it be. My cat is trying to get in here. That magic powers flow from me. Okay, and you'll have one right in the center. Okay, so I'm not going to do all of them, but I will say, I want to show you this as well. This is the order of your knots. By knot of 4, and I will write this in the comment section. By knot of 4, this power will soar. Thank thee, whoever you're working with, whom I adore. By knot of 5, 'twill now survive. My magic flows as given drive. And as I knot the cord times 6, my magic I have faith will fix. The spell begins with this knot, 7, my magic carried by the power in heaven. By knot 8, let it be given, my magic safe, 'twill never be riven. And now I make the knot of 9, my magic I have faith will shine. So those are words you can say, and I will write those in the body of this video. But I do want to show you the order that you're going to do your knots. So on one end you start, number 1, and then the other end is number 2. Right in the middle is your 3rd. Then what you're going to do is between 1 and 3, you're going to go back over to 1 and you're going to do knot number 4 right in the center there. And then knot number 5 in the center between 3 and 2. And then you're going back over this way and you're going to do knot number 6 in the center between 1 and 4. Knot number 7 in the center between 5 and 2. Knot number 8 more towards the middle, but in the center of 4 and 3. And knot number 9 between 3 and 5. And it looks a little bit complicated like that, but when I post the image, it will be a little bit clearer. Okay? So that is what I have for you today on knot magic or cord magic. I hope that you find it useful. I hope that you can incorporate this into your path. And feel free to share your experiences with it in the comments below. Now remember, when you're knotting up your spell, you're binding your spell to that. When you unknot them, you're releasing that spell. So you are letting it go. The spell is over. Okay, if you don't want to release a spell, if you are absolutely sure, like this is a permanent thing, okay, then what you want to do is either bury it, burn it, or keep it in a very safe place, you know, in a box or something that you have in your home, okay? So that's how you dispose of it. If you want to release the spell, you can unknot it, and that releases the spell, and then you can take care of the cord by burying it or burning it is what I would do. Okay? So share in the comments below your experiences with this type of spell work. And don't forget to click like and subscribe, please. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.